Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're setting our sights on Bangkok. It's a city that really seems to capture the imagination of expats worldwide.
It definitely does. A real hub.
And to help us navigate it, we're drawing on some fantastic insights from moveinstay.com. They've been helping business travelers and expats find their feet in Asia for, well, over 25 years now.
Yeah, that's a long time. They've built up a huge amount of experience with finding places, whether it's for a short trip or, a proper move. They really are a solid resource.
Exactly. So our mission really is to tap into that experience. We're going to dive into the info moveinstay.com provides, pull out the key stuff so that you, our listener, can get a genuine feel for what expat life in Bangkok actually involves.
Think of it as a bit of a shortcut. Yeah, using their long-term perspective.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into it. First things first, something you absolutely cannot ignore in Bangkok, the climate.
Yes, the climate. Moveinstay.com flags this right away. It's tropical. So basically hot and humid pretty much all year round.
Right. It's not like you get massive temperature swings. It's just warm.
Consistently warm, exactly.
And the article breaks the year down into roughly 3 seasons. You've got the hot season, March to June, where it gets really sticky, like over 35 Celsius.
Mid-90s Fahrenheit, yeah. Pretty intense.
Then the rainy season hits, June to October. We're talking heavy downpours, maybe even some localized flooding sometimes.
That can happen, definitely. And then you get the cool season, November to February, which is, relatively speaking, cool.
Apparently the nicest time. Temperatures can dip down to 15 Celsius, especially if you're further north. They say April's the hottest month overall, and December's the mildest.
But the thing moveinstay.com really hammers home is the humidity. It's always there.
Always.
And it's not just about feeling sticky. It can genuinely sap your energy levels, something you have to kind of factor in.
For sure. The article gives some practical tips, though, like stay super hydrated, obviously. Wear light, loose clothing. Cotton's your friend. And let's be real, air conditioning isn't just nice to have. It's pretty essential, right?
Oh, absolutely. During those hot months, definitely. But it's not just the heat and humidity. MoveAndStay.com also brings up air quality.
Right. Pollution can be an issue sometimes.
Yeah, they mention you can get periods of smog. It's something to be aware of, particularly if you've got any respiratory sensitivities.
So their advice is pretty sensible. Keep an eye on air quality using apps or websites.
Good idea.
And maybe have a mask ready for the really bad days. It's interesting, they note that even in trendy, modern areas like Thonglor, the rapid development means air quality can still be a concern.
It's a citywide thing, yeah, due to urbanization.
Okay, so that's the environment. What about actually getting around the city? Let's talk transport.
Well, Bangkok has a pretty good range of options, according to moveinstay.com. There's the SkyTrain, the BTS.
The elevated one.
Yeah, and the underground MRT subway, plus the airport rail link, which is super handy for getting to and from Suvarnabhumi Airport.
And buses too, right? Though maybe a bit more confusing.
There's an extensive bus network, yes. Can be a bit tricky to figure out, maybe, initially. And then you have taxis, of course.
The BTS SkyTrain and the MRT subway, they sound like the key ways to beat the traffic. Move and Stay mentions the BTS has the Sukhumvit and Salem lines, and there's a rabbit card for easy payment.
That's right, makes it simple. And the MRT has the blue and purple lines. They're definitely quick options designed to bypass the congestion on the roads.
Ah, yes, the infamous Bangkok traffic.
Indeed. MoveAndStay.com doesn't shy away from it. They point to the high population density, lots of narrow streets in older areas, and just the sheer number of cars.
So traffic management still has room for improvement, sounds like.
It's an ongoing challenge, which means, as they advise, you really need to plan your journeys, especially if you're traveling during rush hour.
Public transport sounds like the safer bet then, time-wise?
Often, yes. Definitely consider it.
What about, like, walking or cycling for shorter trips?
Yeah.
Is that feasible?
MoveAndStay.com mentions it's an option in some areas, sure, but they also give a reality check. You've got the heat, the humidity,
Oh, I just talked about that.
the air pollution at street level, the traffic itself can be chaotic, and sometimes the sidewalks aren't exactly smooth or even.
Okay, so maybe not always the most relaxing stroll. Good to know.
Something that
Yeah.
brought up, definitely.
All right, so climate, transport, next big one, finding a place to live, accommodation.
Yeah, MoveAndStay.com highlights the sheer variety here. Everything from sleek, modern condos and high-rises to more traditional Thai houses.
And they mentioned some popular expat areas. Sukhumvit keeps coming up. Great BTS access, loads of restaurants, shops,
Yeah.
but maybe pricier.
Tends to be, yes. Then you have Siloam and Sathorn, the financial district area, also popular, also generally commanding higher rents.
But there are quieter areas too, right? Further out.
Absolutely. Though you'd then need to carefully consider your commute time. The consistent advice from Move In Stay seems to be prioritize being near public transport, like the BTS or MRT. It makes a huge difference.
Makes sense. And what about renting versus buying?
Renting is much more common for expats, according to MoveAndStay.com. It offers flexibility, especially when you're just settling in.
Buying involves more legal hurdles, I imagine.
It can be more complex, yes. A long-term commitment with specific regulations for foreigners. They also mention serviced apartments as another rental option, often good for shorter stays or when you first arrive.
Okay, so if you rent, what about leases? The article gives some specifics. Usually 1 year?
Typically, yes. A 1-year lease is standard, and expect a kid's deposit, usually 2 or 3 months' rent.
Plus the first month up front.
Correct. Deposit plus first month's rent before you move in. And you'll need documents, passport, probably your work permit, maybe proof of income.
Standard stuff. And MoveAndStay.com has a really good tip here. Use a reputable property agent.
Yes, especially one who knows the expat market in Bangkok. They can be invaluable for finding places, negotiating, and just navigating the whole process.
Sounds like very solid advice. Okay, moving on to something absolutely critical. Visas and work permits. You have to get this right.
Couldn't agree more. MoveAndStay.com really emphasizes this. Getting your legal status sorted from the beginning is paramount. Avoids major headaches down the line.
So the main visa for working expats is the non-immigrant B visa.
That's the most common one, yes. And if you have dependents, like a spouse or children, they typically get a non-immigrant O visa.
Move and Stay also briefly mentions longer stay options, like the OX and OA visas. And that 90-day reporting requirement, that sounds important.
It is. It's a mandatory check-in with immigration every 90 days for long-term visa holders. But the key thing, and Move and Stay stresses this, is always check the official Thai Immigration Bureau website. Regulations can change.
Good point. And just to be clear, a tourist visa doesn't let you work legally.
Absolutely not. Totally different category. For the work permit itself, Move and Stay outlines that you need a job offer first.
Right, the employer is key.
Very key. They sponsor you and handle much of the application paperwork with the Department of Employment.
The article mentions some interesting company requirements too, like needing 4 Thai employees for every foreign worker, usually.
That's a general guideline, yes.
Yeah.
And a minimum company capital requirement, often 2 million baht per foreign employee. It shows the government has structured frameworks in place.
So once you have the non-MB visa, the employer gets the work permit sorted, usually for 6 months or a year.
Correct. And you physically have to keep that permit at your workplace. That's a legal requirement.
Compliance sounds crucial. Move and Stay really underscores this.
Totally. The work permit is tied to your visa. Renewals need to be done in advance. And if you leave Thailand, even for a holiday, you must get a re-entry permit before you go.
Or your visa gets canceled. Wow.
Yes. They even note the costs 1,000 baht for single entry, 3,800 for multiple. And remember, the permit is specific to that job, that company, that location. Change any of those, you likely need a new permit.
And if you don't comply, work without a valid permit.
Serious consequences, fines, potentially jail time, definitely deportation, and maybe getting blacklisted from coming back.
Okay, definitely not something to mess around with. Let's shift gears to something everyone wonders about. Cost of living.
Right. MoveAndStay.com positions Bangkok as generally more affordable than, say, London or New York, but
it depends on your lifestyle, right?
Exactly. Your choices make the biggest difference.
So let's break it down. Housing and utilities first. Costs vary a lot by location, size, condo versus house, like we said.
For sure.
Move and Stay gives some ballpark figures. Maybe $35,000 better a month for a 1-bed condo downtown. 2-bed, maybe $45,000 plus. Larger places, $65,000 or more.
Those sound like reasonable estimates for central areas, yeah.
Yeah.
And they make a great point about utilities that air conditioning bill can add up significantly.
Something to budget for. Plus the deposit and first month rent up front.
Don't forget those. Okay, food and dining. This is where Bangkok can be really cheap.
Street food.
Absolutely. Move and Stay highlights you can eat incredibly well for very little from street vendors. 5,100 baht, maybe? Local restaurants are also very affordable, perhaps 150, 300 baht.
But Western food costs more.
Significantly more, usually 500 baht and up. Groceries are reasonable, especially if you hit the local markets. Imported stuff will cost a premium, naturally.
So cooking at home, exploring local markets, good ways to save money.
Definitely. And then healthcare costs.
Important one. The article says quality is good, especially in private hospitals. English-speaking staff, modern facilities, but more expensive.
That's the trade-off, yes. Public hospitals are cheaper but might have language barriers or longer waits. So for most expats using private care, health insurance is essential.
A must-have. Move-In Stay gives rough costs, like 1,500 to 3,000 baht for a basic private doctor visit.
Around that, yeah. And insurance itself could be anywhere from 2,000 to 10,000 baht or more per month, depending heavily on the coverage.
Okay, that gives a clearer picture. Now, what about families moving over? Education options.
That's a big consideration. MoveAndStay.com says Bangkok has a really wide range of choices. International schools, bilingual programs.
And international schools sound like a major draw. High standards, diverse students.
Yes, they're generally well regarded. You've got different curricula available, British, American, the IB, International Baccalaureate, even schools following German or Singaporean systems. Move and Stay suggests these schools really boost the quality of life for expat families.
And they mention the differences in curricula, like British is more structured, exams focused.
Right, leading to things like IGCSEs and A-levels. The American system is often seen as more flexible, continuous assessment, ending with a high school diploma, maybe AP exams.
And the IB.
That's more inquiry-based, very global outlook, uses internal and external assessments for the IB diploma. It's about finding the right fit for your child, really.
And it's not just academics, is it? Move and Stay mentions extracurriculars, too.
Oh, yeah, a big part of it. Sports, arts, drama, music. Clubs like debate or robotics, community service, it sounds like a very well-rounded experience is available.
Good to know for parents. Okay, beyond the practical stuff, there's the whole cultural adjustment and building a social life.
Absolutely vital for settling in happily. It's exciting moving somewhere new, but it has its challenges.
Understanding the culture is key. Move and Stay touches on Thai culture, influenced by Buddhism, Hinduism.
And neighbors, yeah, they highlight important customs. The way greeting.
The respectful bow with hands together.
Yep, exactly. Being careful not to touch someone's head, which is considered sacred, or point your feet at people or religious symbols.
And showing respect for the monarchy is crucial, right? Avoid public criticism.
Extremely important. Other cultural points they mention: respecting elders, the concept of saving face, avoiding direct confrontation, and understanding nonverbal cues. Even a smile can mean different things.
Interesting. So how do you actually build a social life there?
Bangkok's a very social city, apparently. Move and Stay suggests joining expat groups. There are many online and offline. Taking classes is another good way. Thai language, maybe a cooking class.
Volunteering, too.
Yeah, great way to meet locals and expats with shared interests. And participating in local events and festivals.
Like Songkran, the water festival.
That's the big one. Thai New Year, huge water fights. And Loy Krathong, the Festival of Lights, very beautiful. They also mentioned Chinese New Year celebrations. Basically, embrace the local culture.
Step outside the comfort zone a bit.
Definitely helps.
Okay, let's circle back to healthcare quickly, just to nail down the details on services and insurance.
Sure. As we mentioned, Move and Stay distinguishes between public and private. Public is universal for Thais, affordable, but potential issues for expats with language or waits.
So, private is often preferred by expats. Higher standards, shorter waits, English spoken, but costs more.
That's the summary, yes.
And finding English-speaking doctors, how do you do that?
Move and Stay suggests a few routes. Check with your embassy or consulate, look at online directories of the big international hospitals and clinics, or get referrals from other expats.
Good tips. And do your research. Make sure you feel comfortable with a doctor.
Essential. Ask about their experience, qualifications, and then insurance. Absolutely critical for using private facilities.
What are the main options?
Move and Stay outlines a few. International health insurance is designed for expats, often very comprehensive, might include medical evacuation, think Cigna, JioBlue, names like that.
Okay.
Then there's local Thai insurance, can be more affordable, but might not cover you outside Thailand. Better perhaps for long-term residents.
And some people get it through work.
Yes. Company-provided insurance is another possibility, but you need to check the coverage details carefully. The main advice is compare plans. Look at your needs, budget, which hospitals you want access to, any pre-existing conditions.
Really important homework to do there.
Yeah.
Okay, so wrapping this up, it feels like moving to Bangkok is, well, an amazing adventure waiting to happen.
Definitely exciting. But as moveandstay.com makes really clear, it requires proper planning. You've got to think about the climate, how you'll get around, where you'll live.
The visas, the work permits, the cost of living, schools if you have kids, adapting to the culture, and definitely sorting out healthcare.
It covers a lot of ground. And again, this insight comes from moveandstay.com, drawing on their, 25 plus years, helping people make these exact kinds of moves all over Asia. Their experience really shines through.
It absolutely does. So considering everything we've talked about, this mix of ancient traditions and hyper-modern city life, plus all the practicalities, what aspect of living as an expat in a city like Bangkok do you find most compelling? Or maybe what seemed like the biggest hurdle to navigate?
That's a great question to ponder.
Definitely food for thought if you're considering a move. And of course, for more specifics, we definitely recommend exploring moveandstay.com further.